Hey guys, CSGN here with a Madden 21, sort of a talk, I guess, about next gen and sort of what they showed today. I did a live stream earlier. I don't know if everyone's gonna see that. I don't know if that counts as an upload or what. But for those of you who didn't catch the live stream, I didn't tweet it out or anything. I probably should have, but spontaneous, spur of the moment thing, and sort of half-ass, which I guess you could sort of say is sort of how EA did next gen on Madden. Um, was sort of like that. You're gonna hear me clicking around here for a bit, but just a rather disappointing day, I think, and a day that I think we all knew was coming. I think we all knew next gen Madden. They clearly just did not have a lot planned for this at all. I don't know what happened. I don't know. The only thing I can think of is that the pandemic threw them for a loop on getting the next gen, whatever they were doing for next gen, and maybe their full plans for what they wanted to do for next gen Madden 21, they had to sort of maybe scrap some of those broader plans and sort of shift it to what they gave us, which was a lot of next gen stats. That's really it. Next gen stats is the capture of real-time location data, speed and acceleration for every player, every play on every inch of the field. Sensors throughout the stadium track RFID tags placed on players' shoulder pads, charting individual movements within inches in every NFL stadium. So that's what next gen stats is. It's just better player tracking and things like that, and that's sort of how they're basing on how players are going to move and I guess react and run routes and tackle and defend and strafe and all that sort of stuff. That's sort of, I guess, what's going to be the backbone of Madden moving forward and onto the next generation of consoles. That's really the entire update here. That's really the big next gen feature. I believe there is some. I believe there's new weather conditions in the game. I'm not 100% sure on that, but at the same time, you really thought we would have seen more. I think even from a graphical standpoint, it looks kind of better, I think. And that's really all I can say on that. It looks kind of better. It looks kind of sleeker, I suppose. And that's really it. I mean, it's sort of insane to sort of see, because I've spent this past week so far, about playing NBA 2K21. And despite there being a few issues in that game, whether it be technically or a couple of things graphically, on courts and things like that, it's still clearly an improvement over the current gen game. It's clearly a step up. It's clearly a leap of some kind. Madden, it doesn't really feel like that. It looks like the current gen version of Madden, maybe at a higher resolution. It looks like there's maybe some better skin textures on certain players. And looks like rain sort of picks up on players' helmets. Looks like jerseys get wet. And that's really it. I mean, it's sort of, as I look through the Operation Sports thing here, once again, they're talking about the sideline, but in some of those clips that you see in this trailer, if you go through and look, the sideline players still don't have names. They still look like they're PS1 models. Looks like the jersey's on backwards on one of them. So, in this Operation Sports thing, it says the sidelines, and they really did try making living sidelines, and now they're doing that here in Madden 21 Next Gen. And look, sites like Operation Sports, they know who butters their bread. so they're not going to say anything too outlandish, I suppose. Weather effects, I suppose. It's weird that this wasn't on the actual Gridiron Notes thing that I read off on the live stream, but weather effects. In Madden 21 Next Gen, users will now see snow realistically gathering on the field and on the sidelines. The game also delivers rain in a way that will collect and form on the field and sidelines and saturate a player's uniform and beat up on players' helmets. During the presentation, there were a lot of scenes that displayed the new weather effects in-game, and all of them looked great. Still, though, it must be seen over the course of a full game to know if the impact and visual immersion is truly at the level EA claims. So apparently, they sent people from Operation Sports a presentation or something like that, a Zoom call, and sort of showed them this stuff in effect. Once again, why didn't you show us that stuff? Like, once again, they show us a sleek trailer, but then, the Madden community, we're sort of tired of the sleek trailers. Like, we know you guys can make a really good trailer and make the, bad game that it is look really cool and endearing, but we want to get down to brass tacks here. We want to see the goods. Show us it. I don't understand the studio's sort of unwillingness to show. It's not like they've earned that right to not show, like maybe 2K or MLB, the show studio sort of does, but I don't know. I guess lighting will be better as well. Once again, on here, talk about player movement. Nothing really for franchise because getting some updates. So this clearly isn't like a completely separate game. Looks like they're just, building off current gen Madden 21, which I have no idea what the hell that says for Madden 22. Because it's weird, right? Because you knew we were going to be disappointed, but I've said this already, but just sort of it being confirmed that we're going to be disappointed, I guess, sort of revealing, I suppose. Like, you really have to question. And once again, I don't know if it's because of the pandemic or what, but the NBA 2K team had to work through the pandemic. We've seen all these Insomniac, who made Spider-Man Miles Morales, which is an amazing game. I beat that on PlayStation 5. Amazing game, visually stunning. You know what I mean? You can tell, I know it's out on PS4, but it doesn't look as good on PS4. It looks amazing on PS5, and it looks even more amazing if you put it on the performance mode. They worked through a pandemic. They got a Spider-Man game out, and then they have an amazing looking Ratchet and Clank game coming out sometime next year. Through the pandemic, that studio is going to get out 2 next-gen games that are far more grand in scope than Madden. NBA 2K looks amazing on next gen. Whatever you want to say about how they make their money on that game, whatever. That game, from a visual standpoint, and even the way it plays, it feels like a next gen title. They worked through a pandemic. CD Projekt Red, Cyberpunk 2077. I know it's coming out on current gen consoles, but that's a massive undertaking of a game through a pandemic. It's been delayed a few times. But what they're working on in scope is far more greater than what we're seeing for Madden. So, like, when people complain about Madden, this is one thing I have to say to people. When people complain about the game, they're not looking at Madden just in this vacuum of only Madden. We're looking at it from across the entire gaming industry. And you look at what every other studio does and has to deal with and has to work with. Also working through pandemics. Ubisoft got out Assassin's Creed Valhalla. That game looks amazing. The scope of that game is massive. Through a pandemic. They have thousands of people. I think most of the development house in that game is in Europe, is in France, is in Montreal, I believe. Out in Canada. I'm not 100% sure, but that's a worldwide studio. So, being different sets of lockdown orders, different sets of restrictions, things like that they had to deal with and work through, they were able to get out a massive AAA open world experience RPG game. No problem. Made its release date. Same with Watch Dogs Legion. Same with all these other games that have launched across different consoles. Games that have launched exclusively on next-gen consoles. It's working through the same conditions. And possibly worse as EA. And yet you take a look here at Madden, which is like just clearly the redheaded stepchild. That studio house, EA to burn. I don't know if it's time to completely tear down that studio, rebuild it back up. I don't know if it's time to take Madden from that studio, give it to EA Vancouver, who makes NHL, and give NHL to EA to burn. I don't know what the answer is, but I'm sort of blown away, taken aback, I think, at the lack of work that studio gets done year after year after year. It's sort of like it's not normal, I think, for a studio to make small incremental steps forward as much as how they do. Like it's just not normal. It shouldn't, like, it's not supposed to work this way. You don't see that from any other development house, any other studio. You don't see this. And if you do see this, they usually go out of business. Now, they're sort of backed up here because they have Ultimate Team, but there's going to come a day where that gravy train stops. And I don't know what the hell they have over there to sort of show for themselves once that gravy train stops. Because if that ever does stop, if there ever is regulation on Ultimate Team packs and things like that, this game franchise is screwed. Because it can't stand on its own merits as a football game, and it can't stand on its own merits as a football simulation. So, I'm a little disappointed here. Once again, I already have the next gen game because I'll give them some credit here, and I can't tell if they did this because they knew like they would be absolutely insane trying to charge another $60 to $70 for next gen versions of Madden 21 and FIFA 21 when they look just about the same as the current gen game. And it's basically, you would be asking people to pay for a texture pack. So I think that's why you're getting a free upgrade entirely. Either way, I'm gonna get out of here. I got another video for you guys today. NBA 2K21, an actual next-gen product, an actual next-gen game that actually made big leaps and improvements in its game. So, if you watched this whole wine fest, I want to thank you. Hit like, hit subscribe, follow me on Twitter, link in the description, and I will see you guys next time for more Madden 21 disappointment. Peace.